want to introduce the speaker for this evening. Dr. Clark began taking courses on abortion given by Planned Parenthood in California in the early 70s. He was influenced by Planned Parenthood's propaganda, which stated it would be better for a woman than a back alley abortion, and it would be far safer, and there would be no unwanted children, and there would be no abused children. Now that abortion has been legal for 40 years, you know how untrue that is. After Dr. Clark after he was committing abortions, women avoided him. Women didn't like it. Abortion brought them no joy. They did not trust a family doctor who was also an abortionist to care for their children. While he was committing abortions, Dr. Clark began to read the Bible. He then realized these unborn babies were people with names and souls, and he was murdering them. As Dr. Clark grew in faith, he also saw the contradiction between his life-saving life and taking lives as an abortionist. Dr. Clark stopped committing abortions and became a family doctor in a small rural town in Pennsylvania. He had planned to stay in the area for a year, but ended up staying for more than 2 decades. At this time, let's give a warm welcome to our speaker, Dr. Grant Clark.
I'd like to thank Louis Kavanaugh for taking a chance on me. He'd never met me before today. He had read some articles that I had written, and I don't think you saw the TV program that I was interviewed on. But pray that tonight I will justify your faith. Who am I? Really, no one. I was born and raised in Western Oregon. I was the 6th out of 10 children, and I found out this evening that I was really the 10th out of 15 children. Found out that my mother had had 5 miscarriages. In God's sight, they're still alive. They're before His throne. I'm the only medical doctor in the family, and all but one of my siblings did go to college. My father is a grade school teacher and served as a principal for several grade schools in Oregon. He was the leader of a little country church that we attended, and he also did a lot of preaching in various other country churches, as did several of his sons, including me. After I graduated from high school in Eugene High, I attended George Pepperdine College in Los Angeles. After being there for 3 years, I transferred to the University of South Dakota because they had a medical school in their little college, university area. And I was accepted into that medical school and completed the first 2 years of medicine there. That's all they offered. Then after that, you had to transfer somewhere else. And my somewhere else was the University of California School of Medicine in San Francisco, where I graduated with my MD in 1965. I practiced medicine for 10 years in 2 different places in California, and then went to rural Pennsylvania for a sabbatical, and as Louis said, ended up being there for 27 years. I was a country doctor. Yes, I made house calls. My first wife died of cancer in 2001. I moved back to Oregon and married a childhood friend. By childhood friend, I mean before we went to school with each other. Her parents would come and visit in a little country church that I attended. In our 5th year of marriage, one day she turned yellow. Now that's not a good color for people to turn. And we knew that something was drastically wrong. A year later, she was dead from liver failure. There wasn't a thing we could do about it. About 2 years after that, I contacted a nice lady who's sitting right over there, who I had met previously when I lived in the country in Pennsylvania. Her folks were good friends and mentors. And I was working with her sister in a prison in Oregon. I'd started working in prisons when my first wife was so very, very ill. I had to be able to get free in a moment, to come home and help her as her only caregiver. But I kept on working in prisons after that rather than restarting a private practice. Irene and I have been friends for a long time, 30-some years, and so I was very happy when she married me. I'm very happy that she's here with me tonight. Can you stand? We'd like to applaud you. She took a chance on me, too, and she seems to be happy. All three of my wives went on mission trips with me to various places around the world, 7 different countries. I would lead medical teams, mostly non-medical people, up into countries, and we'd hike into mostly Haiti and Honduras and hold the clinic, and when medicine ran out that we carried in with us, clinic was over. But I want tonight to give you my testimony and share the events that happened to me in Northern California in the early 1970s. I was working in a county hospital in Eureka, California. You can look it up in the map. It's right on the coast. I had observed that county hospitals did not attract dedicated people, medical people. In fact, while I was there for 6 years, 54 different doctors came and went. So most of them had alcohol problems and other drug problems, but they were not high-quality people. I approached working in a county hospital as a mission field. That's what I'd wanted to do with my life ever since I was a little kid. I wanted to be a missionary. And that was my first mission. Well, second actually, but that's okay. Did go down to Tijuana in Mexico and help out on weekends occasionally. I was determined that these people who we would call welfare patients now, we call them county patients then, they were neglected. They did not get good medical care. They didn't have anyone who could smile at them and give them encouragement as well as medicine and pray for them. I'd been in medical school in San Francisco during the Flower Children. Does that ring a bell? Anyone know what that is? Okay, some of you are nodding. The social rebellion, the hippies, and migrated on up the coast and on into Canada to escape being drafted into the Vietnam War. Drug use was rampant. The county that we lived in still is one of the highest growing areas for marijuana. And along with it came the hippie ideals and ideas, zero population growth, stop at 2, became a very popular idea. And I could see, maybe it was a good idea. Hippies didn't come up with too many good ideas, but occasionally they did. These were not stupid people. I had 2 children, and so I decided that from this point on, we will adopt any other children. And 1 week after I got to Eureka, I delivered a little baby girl, redhead, beautiful curly hair, who tonight is my daughter and Irene's stepdaughter, and she has since then adopted 2 children of her own. We adopted in my family lots of children. Brothers and sisters adopted. In fact, I delivered one of the little boys that my brother adopted. I kind of worked that out for me. My parents had taken into our home multiple children. We were always having extra brothers and sisters for periods of time, so it was not unusual for us to, take care of people who needed to be part of a large family. Some years before Roe versus Wade happened, California made some abortions and then all abortions legal. And herein is why I'm here tonight. I want to tell you how I got entangled with abortions and, more important, how I got out. Unlike many other sins, murder has no way to be undone on this earth. All those little kids that I killed, there's nothing I can do to bring them back. Only in heaven can God make it right. Only Jesus' blood can change me or anyone from a murderer to an overcomer. And that's what it's all about. Overcomers are people who are cleansed by the blood of the Lamb and who give their testimonies. So tonight, I'm giving you my testimony. What you do with it, it's okay. It's up to you. If you've had an abortion or counseled someone to have an abortion, you know what I mean. It hurts. Abortions start with several lies as their basis. It is not a baby yet. It is not human yet. All the patients that came to me felt they had a right to do whatever they wanted to it. And I agreed with them. Incidentally, this is the same lie that the Germans told about the Jews. They weren't really human. And therefore, to kill them was really not murder. They're just Jews. They're just its. And we are proceeding to kill the its in our in our community. Some years, as I said before, Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court decision, California had declared abortions to be legal for some reasons, and then all reasons. Once you swallowed the first lie, then you go right on easily to swallow the next one and the next one. But the truth is that any violation of God's laws are illegal, no matter what man's laws may say. He's the one. From the first, I hated to do abortions. They were repulsive to me. I tried to talk women out of them. I tried to talk women into adopting out their children. As I say, there's a little redheaded, well, she's now a large redheaded lady, called me just this evening saying, "Daddy, I need help. My birth mom has just been diagnosed with leukemia, and I want to go see her. Can we work it out?" So we're still working on that one. That just came in this evening. But once people had begun to believe lies, and I was partially believing them, trying to talk them into adoptions was like talking to a brick wall. Especially because of my agreement with them. So I didn't receive a dime for doing abortions. So money was not my motive. I was on a fixed salary at a county hospital, and it wasn't much, but I did not receive anything. It was an urge to help people who need to be helped. And I started doing abortions, even knowing it was a lousy answer to a problem that had no great answers. Women with money bopped down to San Francisco to have their babies killed. The county patients had no options. So I felt if I'm going to serve them, I've got to take care of the situation too. Actually, the legal system then was as screwy as it is now. A person can be prosecuted for causing a woman to have an abortion, but a woman can get one on her own legally. Now go figure. 4 things happened to turn me around. My clientele changed. There were more and more patients who were not young girls who made some serious mistakes. They were married women, been married for 10 to 20 years, found themselves inconvenienced by a pregnancy, came into my office wanting abortions. Their primary motive was selfishness. They wanted to take care of themselves. They didn't want to take care of a baby. I became more and more disgusted with abortions and disgusted with they who wanted them. Second thing that happened was 3rd trimester abortions. That should be 2nd trimester abortions became legal from 4 months up to 6 months. The salting out procedure became something for me to do. You put a needle and a large syringe into the uterus, suck out some of the amniotic fluid to make sure you're in the right spot, and inject into the uterus a very strong salt solution, which kills the baby, and then they deliver the baby. This was before ultrasound equipment was available to us, so due dates were a matter of the word of the mother and the exam of the doctor, both of which were subject to some errors. And one day, for me, the combined errors became a disaster. A live baby, near term, was delivered in bed after I had done the procedure of injecting the salt solution in there. The skin was burnt, the eyes were blinded by the salt, and the baby was barely breathing. There wasn't a chance in the world that any resuscitation could have done anything. I took the coward's way out and left the baby in bed with the mother to die. I kind of think now, looking back on it, I was trying to get even with her for lying to me about how far along she was pregnant. But maybe she didn't know. And not everyone knows when they get pregnant. As soon as that baby died, I said, enough. No more salt solutions. No more abortions with this method. Period. Then, the third thing that happened, a lady came into the office who was, I will call, the peak of selfishness. Her 1st trimester abortion. During her surgery, I was surprised there were only deteriorating pieces of the placenta that I was suctioning out. I sent them to the lab, and they confirmed my diagnosis that she had probably already had a miscarriage before she came to me. I told the mother of my findings and of the laboratory findings, and she went on to have a healthy child. Now go figure. There had to be 2 uteruses. That's the only way it could have happened. She adopted out this healthy child and sued for big bucks for all the pain and misery that she had in delivering this child. She had a normal delivery. And she sued me for 18 years of child support for this baby that she had already adopted out. I went to my malpractice lawyer, who told me I was trying to solve the wrong problem, fighting the case. He went to her and offered her $2,000 if she would skip town, drop all the charges. She did. And I stopped all abortions. My disgust with it had reached a level, and my disgust with myself had reached a level I couldn't do anymore. And in addition to that, as Louis had mentioned, I was studying the Bible very diligently to find out, when does a baby become a baby? Somewhere before birth. But when does it become a baby? There's many writings on it, but nothing that really hit me until I got into, well, two things. First of all, genetics. DNA of each of you is unique. You are a unique being. There's never been a person like you, and not likely to be a person like you in the future, except identical twins. We all come from a sperm and an ova, and the combination of the two makes up life for us. And it's a unique knife. Conception does not take place in the uterus, usually. It takes place in the top of the ovary ducts. And so a new baby is already developing by the time it reaches the uterus. And that's why, or part of why, God told the prophet Jeremiah that he knew Jeremiah before he was in his mother's womb. Now you can take that to mean I knew you while you were still in heaven, and and I sent you down, could be. But it's very easily explained by the time conception takes place, right up at the end of the ovarian duct. At the time it reaches the uterus, you're you, and I am me. And this information gives rise to all sorts of problems for me to solve. My disgust about having been lied to by the Planned Parenthood is only exceeded by my disgust with myself for having been deceived. What I meant for a service for underserved people was made worse by what I was doing. I was the murderer of hundreds of little babies that God had sent to this earth through their parents. Just stopping the abortions was only part of an answer. There's no way I could make it right by bringing back to life the little kids that I killed. I had tried hard to solve a problem, and I'd become part of the problem rather than part of the answer. In my desire to help people, I made them worse. I had become an enabler. Someone who helps people to go on living the life that they're living without having to change. Killing babies is not the answer to enjoying sex outside of marriage. It's not. Killing babies is just an extension of the selfishness that caused the little babies in the first place. Offering abortion or birth control pills to people who are not married is not making the problem any easier. It only prolongs their sin. I was being used, and that made me feel disgusted with myself for allowing it to happen. Methods that prevent the ova and the sperm from meeting are true birth control, meant for married couples. But these include barriers such as condoms or diaphragms, or tubal ligations in the female, and ligation of the sperm duct in the male. And I know many of you disagree with that, and that's okay. All methods of destroying a newly combined sperm and ova are murder, including all methods of preventing the new baby from implanting in the uterus, IUDs, intrauterine devices, put inside the uterus. Some birth control pills that are heavy in progesterone. Some are not. Some are. And the so-called morning after pill. They're all abortions. One by one, I learned how these pills and mechanisms work. I had to stop ordering them if if I truly wanted to continue not murdering little babies. Those that looked down on me for doing surgical abortions were in fact doing a lot of them themselves, with certain pills and particularly IUDs, intrauterine devices. Women that looked down on other women for having surgical abortions, likewise guilty when they accepted IUDs and some kind of birth control pills. There's a big difference in keeping the ovum from being released from the ovary and preventing it from implanting inside of the uterus once it has been fertilized. It's a long time after they're on the market that the information on how they work became known. The original information was not always correct. Chemicals that kill the sperm and prevent fertilization is probably legitimate, but often not reliable. Only takes one live sperm to do the job. Bottom line is that I thought I'd stopped doing abortions in 1973 only to find out I was still doing them. I didn't know it. The prescriptions that I used and the IUDs that I'm still putting in. As I learned, I changed. And I think that's the key to being an overcomer. When you learn, change. When you learn about abortions, do something about it. Stem cells and stem cell research that could be obtained, these cells from the umbilical cord and the placenta rather than the bodies of murdered babies, has become a problem. There is a vaccine on the market right now. You're urged to get it if you're my age or older, for shingles. How was it developed? From stem cells of little murdered babies in Japan. I refused to give it from the first because I found out where it came from. It could have been developed in many other ways. It didn't have to be that way. But the fact that it is developed from that, I say, away with shingles vaccine. Shingles hurts, very painful, but it doesn't kill anyone. And to kill a little baby in order to develop a vaccine for a disease that doesn't kill anybody, somehow this doesn't ring true. Crazy. The battle to stop abortions is a lot bigger than most of us figured at first. Is it worth it? I think so. And how do I battle it? I admit my mistakes and change my way of practice and change my life about what mistakes I'm making. And it takes courage to change. It's not fun to find out that you've been a dupe of Planned Parenthood. Number 2, I see more and more areas where I've been lied to. Change them. Sometimes verbally, sometimes not, but always take action. Told by the Planned Parenthood that aborted children cannot feel it when they're being torn apart. That's not true at all. These little kids have developed sensory systems that are actually more developed than when they're born. Children react to pain. And now that we have the ultrasounds where you can actually see a little child being ripped apart and see him screaming in pain, it's true. There's a movie that someone made of called The Silent Scream. Have you heard of it, anyone? It shows a picture of a little baby being torn to shreds and screaming. The claim that they can't feel anything just doesn't cut it. Which makes me feel even more guilty for what I did, and make you mothers out there feel guilty if you'd had an abortion. But Jesus can forgive me, and He can forgive you too. We've known for many years that little babies in the uterus respond to their parents' voice while they're still in the uterus. They respond to music while they're still in the uterus. They have feelings. They can show love. picture of one little twin hugging and cuddling the other little twin inside the uterus. Very poignant. Urging others to change their practice and their habits in the light of new information is part of our battle. Many people do not realize that the morning after pill is just another abortant. But now that you know it, spread the word. I think there are two major things that drive our country that need to be changed. Two motivations. One is money, and the other is power. Where possible, to fight this, find out where the stores are that sell over the counter morning after pills, and vocally attack it and publicly boycott it until they change. When it begins to hurt their pocketbook, they'll change. So find out where these pills are being sold. All you have to do is ask any college-age daughter, college-age kid. They know where they're being sold. So arm yourself with this information and go for the company. Find out where what company makes them. This is possible to find out. You have Google on your TV, on your computer. Who makes the morning after pill? And what other pills do they make? Boycott them. If you can. I mean, if it's something, well, almost any pill that you take, there's a substitute for it. Because every pill has side effects, and what doesn't hurt someone will hurt another person, so there has to be a backup. But watch out. As soon as the pressure's let up on the drug companies, I know for sure that they will go right back to doing what they were doing before. We need to find out who our allies are and encourage them. Life beginning at conception has long been a teaching of the Catholic Church. I came to that conclusion through a very hard road. But now that I believe that conclusion, I want to be the ally of those who came to the same conclusion of different route. Political parties and individual politicians that support and foster abortions usually have a lot of other wrong things that they support too, such as tolerating homosexual acts. When God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, book of Genesis, he also killed one person who was not likely a homosexual at all. You know who it was? Lot's wife. She was already married by the time she got there. She'd already, made up her mind. But God killed her because she tolerated homosexuality. She tolerated living in that city that was full of it. If you tolerate a sin, you're guilty of the same thing yourself. What you tolerate, you're responsible for. If you say, but I don't believe in hell, you will. What this crazy doctor is saying, that the entire Democratic Party needs to be revived, reestablished, or dumped. And much of the Republican Party too. The same sin can be committed by both. It's a huge answer. Not some quick fix. Easy answers have not worked, and they won't work. We have for years in our area in Harrisburg. Where do we live, love? In Harrisburg, demonstrated in front of abortion clinics with gross bloody signs, which have accomplished almost nothing. How about finding out who rents them that building and put pressure on the renters? How about making very public to these renters what they're doing? And again, you have to keep on putting pressure on it, because as soon as you stop, they'll come right back. Drive them to bankruptcy if necessary. If they rent out to abortion clinics, they'll be also renting out to other disreputable businesses too. I talked about allies. There's a fly coming around here. My allies sometimes let you down. Sometimes I've let others down too. I was handing out pro-life voter guides in front of the Catholic Church in our area, and a lot of the members of that congregation came out and were very irate with me for handing out pro-life information. There were other members from that same congregation who were with me and had invited me there. But I was surprised. I thought all Catholics, are against abortion. I was wrong. Conclusions. Abortions are as hard on those around the lady having it as to the lady herself. There are just about as many women having abortions and not really knowing it as those who have had surgical abortions. Here, let me put this IUD in you to keep you from getting pregnant. Always ask, how? Just about every doctor in America has performed an abortion or caused one because of what he or she has prescribed. In these days of transplanting little babies from one mother to a surrogate mother, or transplanting it from one part of the mother's anatomy to another part of her anatomy where it belongs, then terminating the life of a little baby from that pregnancy is almost non-existent. There's some maybe, but almost non-existent. Fighting against abortions is a huge job, far more than overturning Roe versus Wade. To be effective in the war against abortions, whole political parties have to be destroyed or revamped. To do this job, allies against abortion have to work together in a way that we have not really seen yet. Christians against abortion are going to have to make a difference about it in their own churches. Be very vocal about it. We must urge our churches to take action against this sin. That involves, how do you vote? Tolerating sin makes us responsible for that sin. Ask Lot's wife. Tolerating abortions and homosexuality will give us everything we do them they were going to get, we will get. Fighting and winning against abortions and other pet American sins is not an option. It's a mandate from God. Toleration is not an option. Hiding is not an option. It's what I did for years. We must fight effectively, and we must be overcomers. We must win the battle. There will be an offering taken tonight for the local Right to Life organization. Money is needed. When I found out that, it's going to cost me about $1,000 and my wife another $1,000 to fly from Harrisburg to here, I said, I'll drive. You guys save the money. Put it in yours. So that's one of my donations. Right to Life needs your money in order to survive and promote life instead of abortion. We need to get this message out of whatever means we have available. We need to revamp our methods. Right to Life organizations don't receive any grants from the government, major gifts, or any government of any kind. It's all from donations from regular people like yourself. This organization has worked very hard to promote life, and it's everyone's responsibility to help restore the value of life. I know the times are tough. We only do so much. When it comes to promoting life and caring for those in troubled pregnancies, we need to examine our priorities and give what we feel is right. Right to Life organization has done so much over the years. They worked hard. Are they tired? Somebody said they're tired and they're getting older. Is anyone behind me tired and getting older? So please listen to what they have to say. If you have your checkbook with you tonight,
she's the one that put me on to Dr. Clark. And this man he's very gentle, you can tell, but he says it from the heart. And he did not charge our group anything to come and speak. And a lot of times it's pretty costly to get a speaker in. So we thank you very much, Dr. Clark, for your contribution to our organization. And hopefully, it'll be a big shot in the arm. And we thank you for your message, okay? Thank you.